Hello everybody! So, I got inspired actually watching a Jaiden Animations video because she's always talking about yada 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 and whatever. So basically this is me plagiarizing her video without me actually doing so. But today we're going to go ahead and talk about questions that I actually asked friends for to basically get a concept. So this video is going to be questions people have for somebody who's living with either schizophrenia or sociopathy. So at the end of each question, I will tell you like which particular disorder they're asking about. Some of them didn't give them, so I just used the condition most appropriate for their question. So here we go. First question was, what's the most common misconception about the condition, and why is it incorrect? Okay, so I assigned schizophrenia to this one, because with sociopathy, the most common misconception is you're going to stab somebody in the night. That's not really the case. Anyway, but here's the thing. Most people seem to think that schizophrenics can't handle reality at all, and I think that's actually a very harmful misconception. People with schizophrenia are not actually a whole lot different than your average person. They can either have hallucinations, delusions, auditory, or visual. The reason this is incorrect is a lot of people think that we can't handle reality. And just because of the fact that we may have hallucinations from time to time, it doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to process reality in a functional manner. Some people have very, very mild schizophrenia, and some people have very severe schizophrenia. And it does progress with age. I, for one, am only 28. I don't have really horribly bad hallucinations, but they are crippling. It makes it difficult to work, and it makes it difficult to interact with people on a daily basis when you're having a bad day. But there are good days, and when you're having a good day, it's more or less just talking to a normal person. So don't worry if one of your friends says, I have schizophrenia and it's been diagnosed. Usually they're not going to have a problem. Question number 2. What's the most important thing for people to know on the internet about your condition? I'd say be patient. A lot of times there's going to be situations where we are not going to be able to do something or not be able to handle something. And again, this is for schizophrenia. A lot of times we're going to have those bad days, and when we have those bad days, even if we've got something set up months in advance, we're not going to be able to do it on that day. So be careful with our scheduling, and if we say, look, it's not a good day, it's not because of you, it's because of us. We can't help it. If we could, we wouldn't do it that bad. Question for sociopathy. Are there any unexpected benefits to being this way? Emotional arguments don't work. None of them will. If you're going to go after somebody, sometimes they'll get a little upset or get a little pissed off. But that's not because they are letting that get to them. It's more just because your argument has gone so beyond the bounds of reason that they can't understand what the hell you're trying to ask them. So in that situation, like, let's take the vegan debate. If somebody's going to say, it's because people are cruel to the animals, and where this may sound a little heartless, I assure you it's just from my station. It's just from how I am. I don't care. They're food animals. I understand that they may be treated poorly, and I would like them to be treated as nicely as humanly possible. But I also don't care how poorly my meat is being treated before it's presented to me. I'm not the one doing it, so I'm not the one responsible. I'm just purchasing it. And whereas that people might think that's a cop-out from that argument, honestly, again, I don't care. But maybe we should move on. How do you deal with people with other disabilities? This is another thing for sociopathy. I basically treat everyone like they have a disability. It's not intentional. It's actually kind of hard to understand why I do this, but I do it for a reason. People don't make sense to me, at least not the way they would make sense to, let's say, your friend and you talking. It doesn't make sense to me in the same way. The person that you're dealing with on a daily basis is also the person that you have to deal with. I'm sorry about the dog. You're going to have to deal with it. It's just in the background. I can't make it shut up. There's nothing I can do. I apologize. Moving on. Question number 5. Are there voices or hallucinations that have ever been beneficial? This is for schizophrenia. Yes, actually. A lot of times with this, it's mainly the combination of the disorders. Because I don't really understand why abstract emotions would affect me, I have to go into this side issue of the hallucinations process it better than I do. So when, like, I have a bad feeling about a person, but I can't really justify it, I will just ignore that. And I shouldn't do that. So occasionally I've had situations where the hallucinations will sit there and go, look, this person's evil. Ooh. And I'm like, well, I guess. Don't judge me, I know I'm weird. Moving on. Can people with sociopathy feel love for someone they can't get any kind of benefits from? Like financial, political, or power kind of benefits. This one's another one for sociopathy, so obvious from the question. The answer to that is actually yes. The benefits that most people would think are not the same benefits that I think. See, whereas this person who asked this question thought when it comes to benefits, they stuck with financial, political, or let's even say domination and power benefits. That's not why. Let's go with why I'm, with Minty. The thing about Minty is yes, she's a good person, but she doesn't contribute financially. I feel no political contribution from her, and I don't try to dominate her in any way. The only benefit I get is being able to spend time with somebody I genuinely enjoy spending time with. So it leads to this situation of I enjoy spending time, and there's not a lot of stress spending time with her. So that is the benefit. Inherent benefits don't have to be limited to this or that. They can be just, I like spending time with them, and they don't cause me a whole lot of trouble, so that's a benefit to me. So that's that. Oh, this one. This one's going to have a story attached to it. Could someone with sociopathy be in an intimate relationship with someone who has a very similar sociopathy? Well, I was actually dating a girl. We'll call her Rachel, just because I don't want to give out her real name. It's kind of an embarrassing story. And for a very long time, she and I were dating. And we spent quite a bit of time together. We were in a very intimate romantic relationship. And at the time, we had considered getting married. But it led to this whole situation of I didn't even realize that it was very abusive. And it led to this like disconnect from who I am to who I am today. It's hard to understand the concept of somebody with no emotion being a sociopath, because it's not really what I experience. It's not that I don't have emotions, it's that your emotions don't make any goddamn sense to me. They're ridiculous. And in that concept, she had a lot of her emotional kind of issues. But it turned out it's because she was sociopathic, just like I was. And it turned out that we were not a good couple because we were both sociopaths. You can be in that relationship, but it's going to lead to issues. And the major problem that it leads to is abuse. Either emotional or even physical abuse on part of either party. For me, I was the one being abused. It was emotional. I didn't even notice it was going on. Eventually, it took a pair of my friends to point it out that this emotional abuse was happening. And even then, I didn't want to believe it. I only actually started seeing it after we broke up. So, that's always something to consider. The next question is, could someone with sociopathy love someone who is extremely weak emotionally, no confidence, no money, and basically a pathetic person? I don't really see anybody as pathetic, just less useful, but it's absolutely possible. Again, the only benefit that somebody really needs is enjoying spending that time with you. And a romantic relationship doesn't necessarily involve huge amounts of benefits. So if you get down to the road of it, it eventually leads you to this point of, yes, it's entirely possible. And the final question is, how does a person with schizophrenia make friends with someone who's awkward? This question was actually proposed to me during a stream, and it doesn't really affect anything. It's basically just being friends with somebody. So, meh. I didn't really ever consider why exactly. It's never really been an issue. It might just be because that's how I personally handle situations. So it leads to me being able to just talk. And a lot of people would not guess I'm a schizophrenic. This was an interesting video to do, and I know I didn't do justice to the format that I have used. I have no fan art to scroll by, and I'm not exactly the most loved person, so I don't have any additional comments to bring out. But if you did like this video, why don't you do me a favor and go ahead and check out the inspiration for it, which is Jaiden Animations. They have a ridiculous amount of more subscribers than I ever will. But if you did go there from here, do me a favor. The link will be in the description. Just tell them Ichabod sent you. Thank you all very much, and have a good day. I've got coon shit to do. Bye.